Hey, everybody, welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. I am, of course, your host, CQ, and tonight we have an incredibly talented guest joining us. She's an actress whose body of work spans across television, film, theater. You know her as the compassionate Dr. Janet Fraiser from Stargate SG-1, the lovable Muriel from Virgin River, and the resilient Grace Sherman from Cedar Cove. She's also graced our screens in beloved sci-fi series like The X-Files and Babylon 5 and Supernatural. I am so pleased today to introduce my guest, the wonderful, the amazing, the dynamic Teryl Rothery, everybody.
Hey,
Yay!
hey, I want to take you with me everywhere. I love that intro. That was great.
I mean, I could have really oversold it, but I feel like your resume speaks for itself. You know, the people love you. When we announced we had our last show that you were coming on, people were like, "Oh my God, Stargate!" And they're like, people got excited. So obviously, we're very happy to have you on and appreciate your time coming on.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So the first question, as always, same with every guest, we want to get to know you a little bit better. What
Yeah,
is your military connection?
through friends, actually. One of my dear friends I managed to meet through the show of Stargate because being, portraying Air Force military, we had actual military people on set with us to make sure that we were doing things right and by the book and all of that. And all these years later, I still manage to keep in contact with a dear friend who has retired from the Air Force, a colonel, and just an amazing human being. And I have really close friends who are also in another branch, not in Air Force, but also in the military. So, and I support the troops wholeheartedly. Huge
Oh,
supporter.
well, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, being that we are a pop culture podcast slash live stream slash talk show, uh, tell us, outside of your given profession, I'm always curious. What is Tara? What does she geek out about? Right? What's her pop culture fixation outside of acting?
Oh boy. What do I geek out? It's so funny. I had an interview a while back, not too far ago. But anyway, we were chatting about that and geeking out and the Stargate and the sci-fi. I love being a part of the sci-fi culture 100%. But, and they were asking me, do you ever get starstruck? Like is there ever somebody you get starstruck about? And I said, no, not really. I mean, there was one, but that's another story. But it's I was walking down the street, and this is so funny, and it's a true story. I'll repeat it. The geeking out happened when I was walking down the street, and I happened to turn, and I saw this person, and I went like that. And we made eye contact, and he smiled, and I was just like, and I kept walking, and then I said to my friend, I said, did you see who that was? And he was like, no. And I said, that's Daniel Sedin. Now, unless you're a hockey fan, you're not going to know who the Sedin twins are. But when it comes to hockey people, that's where I geek out. I don't know, maybe it's the Canadian in me, but I love hockey. My daughter plays hockey, and I literally geeked out because Daniel Sedin, I walked by him. Yeah.
Stars, they're just like us.
Right?
I love it. I love it. That's a passion that us nerds will get. I'm a little split because I'm huge nerd. Marvel and DC and all these things. But I'm
Yeah.
also a huge football fan, so I get it. I get where the geekiness can
You
come out.
probably would. Sure. Yeah.
Exactly. So one of the reasons, obviously, that we got connected and you're coming here is your upcoming appearance at Shore Leave, which I think is 45. I mean, God, they've been doing this forever.
I
Um,
know.
it's an incredible convention. First, have you ever been to Shore Leave before?
I have once before and loved it. I love it because there's also that closeness. We get to
Mhm.
actually engage with the people who are coming by to talk to us. We get to engage with everybody. It's very family. But then, I mean, every convention, to be honest, that I ever attend, there always seems to be everybody has their own little thing. And I think because I love going so much, I really do. And it's I mean, when you think about it, it used to be, I think they're doing other genres now, but it used to be the only genre who literally offered this sort of thing.
Hmm.
And the friends of Stargate, I call them friends. It's hard to call that word fan, but the friends of Stargate, let's say the friends of sci-fi, when they come, it's a treat for them. But for me, it's also a treat because if it wasn't for them following, we wouldn't have had the show that we had, and it continues to keep on giving. And I have, over the years, umpteen years of doing them, I have had people come up. I had a gentleman come up with his fiance and his mom, and we were in Germany, and he had this face on and he was smiling. And I said, "Hi, how are you? What's your name?" We're having this conversation. And he said, "You probably won't remember me, but I have a little something for you." And he presented me with this photo that he had framed. And he was a little guy, little boy. And I was very young. And I'm holding him, hugging him, and we're having a photo. And there is this grown man with his fiance and his mom. And I lost it. I just could not stop crying because this is that's the beauty of it. It's not just, "Hey, I really love your show, thanks," and then you go. There's a following. And a lot of this, I love sci-fi geeks. I like your term. I'm one. Sci-fi geeks that also will follow in a romance show that I'm in. Like they are so loyal. They're so loyal, and I don't know if they even know how much that means. Certainly to me, I'll speak for myself, but I just need you all to know how that means so much to me.
It's so true. Speaking on shore leave, and I've mentioned this a few times because we had Greg Grunberg who's going to be there as well, and we were talking about how each convention, has its thing, and there's the big ones. There's the New York Comic Cons and the San Diego Comic Cons, and then there's the smaller ones. There's the niche ones, and I've covered a lot of them. And I really feel Shore Leave is something special. It is probably the most intimate of
Mm,
conventions I've been to, where you really do feel like there's less of a I don't know, less of a barrier between you and the talent that is there. I have probably the best conversations I've ever had at any convention at a shore leave, and it definitely is one of my favorites to go to. And it's just a much more low key. Like there's the
yeah,
rat race is kind of out of it, right? It's just
yeah, yeah.
people are just moseying along, and again, it's such a great fan base, such a great population of people. So I'm so excited you'll be there. Can't wait to see you
Me
there.
too. Yay.
It's gonna be a one, and it's so funny. We're so in sync. My next question was, do you have a favorite, like a fan favorite, or sorry, a gift that is your favorite from a fan? Did somebody bring you something that you loved, or maybe something you purchased at a convention? But you nailed the question, man.
I
You're
got that. And then I've also had another gift where people, oh my gosh, it was somewhere in England, and this couple, she was pregnant. And then at another convention, the gift was, "Here she is." And there's this beautiful little girl, right? So those are gifts. Those are just, you can't even, I can't even fathom anything other than that, the touch of family. Or my very first convention, not even knowing what I was getting into, like my very, very, very first, and thankfully I had Bruce. Um, why am I drawing a blank? Age is a bitch,
happens.
isn't it? Complete bitch. Babylon, help me. Babylon
Oh,
5, Bruce. Ha, you got it too. It's
yeah, you put me on the spot.
contagious.
We know what you mean. I'll put a graphic on it later.
My gosh, it's going to drive me crazy. Anyway, he was the man who took me through, showed me what we're going to do. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And the next thing I know, I'm a maid of honor at a wedding, and they're dressed in a beautiful Babylon 5 attire. And Bruce and I are like literally legally signing documents because we officiated at, like, we were their maid of honor and best man at their wedding.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Was it
Right?
Box Leitner? Is it
Box
Box
Lightner.
Leitner?
Sorry, Bruce. Worked with him.
We got it. We got it. We're good. We'll fix it in post. It's fine. But that's incredible. I love that. The idea that it's the moments it's the interactions, it's the memories that are
Yeah.
truly the gift. And for us normal civvies, we want the pictures and the autographs, but it's beautiful to know that like it's. I think that's been my greatest, my most biggest takeaway from getting to interview actresses and actors and comedians and everything. It's always the interactions that stay with them more than anything else, and I think that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So about you, like let's talk about you for a second. You've had an absolutely prolific career, television, film. Give us a kind of a look back. What is it that drew you into acting?
To be honest, I don't know because what drew me in, I was from the age I was 4. I just
Mhm.
knew. I didn't know the term actor. I didn't know anything. I just knew that I wanted to be a movie star. And I never wavered. Like literally, it was, oh, there was one year where I wavered because they saw a couple of nuns in their beautiful habits. And I don't know how old I was, 5 maybe. And I was like, oh, maybe I should be that. My grandmother was like, yeah, no, no, I can't see that. But okay, honey. Anyway, that was I called it a costume. I thought I quite liked the costume, which I got to wear one year when I did sound music. So I digress. Uh, from the time I was 4, it's all I ever wanted to do, and I would create stories. I was not raised as an only child, so my stories were mine, and it was through, Barbies or dolls or scenarios. Like I just would have this imagination, and I would literally create stories. And unbeknownst to me, there was also an episode 2 or a sequel to whatever the movie was because I had continued. I on a different level would continue on. It was like this story arc that I would follow, not knowing what the hell I was doing, but I that's what I wanted to do. So I could not imagine not doing it. I love everything about it. I love the whole storytelling process. And that is, I just feel so incredibly blessed that, as you say, I've been able to work doing something I love, like literally getting up and can't wait to go. So I'll sometimes show up, an hour early. They're like, what are you doing here? I said, I'm just, I'm ready. You know what I mean? Seriously, it's a passion. It's a love.
I
So
tell you, I tell the young people out there all the time. I said, in life, you can do the thing you love. A lot of times, you're not going to get paid well to do it, or you can do the thing that makes you a lot of money, and a lot of times, it's not going to be something you love. It's few and far between the people that can find their passion, their love, and then get paid well enough to do it. So kudos for you. You're winning. You're winning, man. Good job.
yeah.
That's the secret. I mean, and again, you have such a great career, and we could talk for hours. I know we're on limited time, so we're gonna kind of hit the highlights.
Okay.
Dr. Janet Fraiser in Stargate SG-1 remains one of your most beloved roles. How did you approach playing such a compassionate yet strong character?
Gosh. So when I was asked to do this, I don't, I just, you read, every actor has that where you'll get the story and you look and you get an idea of what they want for that character to be, but you are that. And what makes everybody unique, every actor is unique because I can't be, this actor, I can only be who I am and vice versa. We bring a little bit of ourselves to it. The whole compassion thing. I mean, I was, having to play the military side and then still having to uphold the medical. There's a certain wall, but there were times where I would come through because I tend to be very emotional. You show me something pretty and I'll cry. You show me, I'll see something. Oh my God, that's so adorable. That's just me. And then there were moments where I'd have a patient and I could feel, and one of them in particular, I do tell this story because it was Apophis when the body was dying, and Janet Dr. Fraser is with him. These tears came up, and I kept thinking, what is, and I have goosebumps. I remember thinking, I have to maintain, but I couldn't stop that emotion. I wanted that emotion to be there, not for any other reason than that was what I was feeling. And they kept it in. You could see where her eyes, but that is the compassion. So here is this evil, you know, person or entity in this body, but it just happened. It was so, Peter did a beautiful job. There's as he's lying there, and our makeup special effects with the foggy lenses, as this host is aging, it just touched me, and I loved the fact that they allowed that. Like they could have taken a different take, but they brought that in because that is who Janet was. It was lovely to see her over the years and her story arc. You got to see so many facets. You got to see the logic. You got to see the mama bear, with Cassie, and you got to see a little bit of flirtation. Sadly, it was at her demise. It was, down she goes. She finally starts flirting, and down she goes. Um, but you got to see a lot of that, right? And that's again a testament to the writing and also the whole story, because it's about constantly, you hear it all the time, but that's no other way to best describe it, is peeling the onion. It's just constant, and you can take little layers, you can take the big ones, but there's always going to be something new exposed, something new to show, right?
No, that's so true. And I love how in sync we are, because my next question was, how did your character evolve over the course of the show? And then what impact did that have on you kind of personally? Like, what did you take away from that experience?
Well, all of that I got to experience. I got to show those layers, right? Thanks to the writing, showing this, she now has this child, showing all of that, showing sense of humor, showing her deep family friendships with the core of people she works with all the time. Um, yeah, I don't know how else to say it. We sort of, like you say, we doubled over there,
Yeah,
but
we're connected. I love it. We're best
thank
friends
you.
already.
Look at us.
So speaking of that too, that role, your chemistry with Amanda Tapping, it's often praised everywhere. Do you have any memorable moments that you could share in working with her?
Oh my God, there's so many. First of all, I mean, to walk with her, she is the consummate professional. She never misses a beat. Never. I mean, we've all faltered. I don't think I've ever seen her falter. Rick, Rick is Rick. I mean, I think those would be the funny moments where we would have moments where we would lose it, those moments, and the majority of our moments, Amanda and Teryl moments, we're always behind the scene, like loading up, ready, getting ready, and they're setting stuff up, and then we'll break into Minnie and Turlene, and we'll be doing something, and then we'll do something else, and then we're laughing, okay, we got to go in action, and then we're back to our characters. So that's where we had all those moments where we'd laugh our pants off, like crying, laughing, just crazy laughing, and then crying because something will touch us, and then we're both gone. We'll just, um, but funny moments. There's just so many. I think one of my favorites. Oh, everybody was so pissed at us. Christopher in particular. I think it was 2010, the futuristic one. Isn't that funny to say that now in 2024? Where we were in 2010, and so Christopher's in the robes. I don't know if you remember that
Mhm.
episode. And we're in a circle, and sometimes when you're shooting in a circle, we have to cheat as actors just for the logistics of camera and storytelling. You have to cheat eye lines, so I might be talking to you here, we are really talking, but I have to look over here for a proper eye line. So the was it, I forget the character's name, he came in a certain way, but I had to pretend he was coming in from here. And then when we were able to shift around, then I could see that it's all, I'm getting into the technical stuff, but it was late at night. We were roasting. We were so hot. Late at night never works, right? It's just, and so I looked at the real actor. So I'm supposed to be looking here, but then he came in here, and so I was like that, but losing it. I forgot that I went like this. Oh, during the scene. Oh, and then turned over here because I had to see him here, and then I went, and then I had to stop, and I'm trying to pull it together, and then I hear Amanda go like this, and the dialogue's still going on. I'm going this. The next thing I know, we are tears. tears streaming down her face. Christopher's like, "Are you trapped in these robes?" Because he had all this layers of material. This poor man was dying. He was so hot. And we lost it. And to make matters worse, because we could not stop, it was like, oh, the director, like, and he never gets angry, and he wasn't angry, but he was like, come on, guys, because we just lost it. Then we had to go and have full makeup. The more they're trying to put makeup on, the more we're still laughing. We finally got the scene done, obviously, but yeah, those are the kind of moments where we were gone.
Mm. I,
Yeah.
it's funny. I equate that a lot to like my military experience where I go, oh yeah, I served in combat and things like that. And a lot of times, a lot of that stuff fades, but it's those moments in between things where so and so shaves his head off and another guy tackles this guy. And it's just it's the pauses between moments that kind of linger, the
You
camaraderie of
just
it.
nailed it in such a beautiful way. It's the pauses between those moments. Bang
Yes.
on,
Yes.
CQ, bang on.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Right?
Man, we're running short on time. I got to get so much out of you.
Do a part two. We have to do a part
Oh,
two, buddy.
absolutely, absolutely, without a doubt. X-Files, Babylon 5, Supernatural. You've been a part of so many iconic sci-fi shows. What is it about that genre that captivates you the most?
I'll be honest, I think it's for a long period of time, going back years, where it was very fitting to shoot sci-fi in Vancouver. We tend to have, it's Pacific Northwest, like Seattle, so you get a lot of that mood. The mood is already pretty much set. Um, and just there was a lot of shows that were filming, and I just happened to have been very blessed to go and audition, and in turn, book some parts on them. So that's basically all it is for me. Is it a thing that I was drawn to? Oh, heck yeah. I grew up watching when I was a little girl. I can honestly say that because I was little, watching the original Star Trek because I absolutely fell in love with it and created my own world, created my character. I was, um, Princess Zar, Princess Zara from the planet Zarkon. I can still remember. And even as a kid, I know you're like, oh, I've got so many questions. Stop rambling. But I have to tell you, even as a
Please.
little girl, I was already thinking like, the camera people, like the producers, the networks, because I was going, okay, I need to have a blonde, I need to have a redhead, and I need to have a brunette. I'll be the brunette. And so I can't have the competition of more brunettes. So I was going to have the redhead and the blonde. And then I, of course, had to have James T. Kirk. That was going to be my love interest. And then Spock had one, and then Bones had one. So I had it all covered. And my Princess Zara was from the planet Zarkon. But when I cried, CQ, diamonds. I cried diamonds.
Wow.
Yeah. So I
Hmm.
could pawn them off the next planet. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. But it's little girl, and I had my Pez dispenser. You ever remember
Of
Pez?
course. Of
Probably not,
course.
but okay. And so I'd lift open my Pez dispenser and I'd go, Jim, and that was my
The
what do they call
communicator.
them?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I'm telling you, like it was vivid. So there you go. Where does it come from? I think also that's just a part of me. I lived for that show.
Oh man, that's awesome. I love it. Most little girls are playing Barbies and whatnot, and you're over here shooting episodes of Star Trek in your bedroom.
Yeah, yeah, right. With planets. Oh yeah, all the planets.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And by the way, ramble as much as you want. My God, the stage is yours. I find this honestly the most fascinating. I love doing this because I love to get to know the people behind the characters. And I said I'm the weirdo that like, yeah, I buy the DVD, but then I watch like the director's commentary and I watch the
Right.
making of and the featurette, because the behind the scenes stuff that we don't get to see, I find more fascinating most times than the end product. Because it's just, I mean, you live a whole world different than the rest of us. You get to play in the fantasy land and do all that stuff, and we never get to see it. So that's so cool. But thank you for sharing.
Oh,
Uh,
you're welcome.
I mean, there's so many good things. I mean, you've been a part of the Good Doctor since 2017. How has that experience been for you? I know your character has evolved over the seasons. I mean, tell us a bit about it.
No, I loved it. I remember auditioning for that and finding out that I got this part of the anesthesiast. and not knowing, well, she might pop up, we don't know, and then being able to be a part of it. And I love, again, there was still that connection to Janet, right? Because it's medical. So I felt so comfortable around doing the business, and the cast was just, oh my gosh, amazing. The cast was amazing. We'd have all these beautiful, fabulous directors, producers, the writers. Again, they truly had such a wonderful family unit as well. So it was an honor to be a part of that show. I'm very sad that it's done now. It's yeah,
Yeah,
but and that's great. And the
great
character
time.
to bring in, a character in neurodiverse character who
Mhm.
I just was so moved by that because that needs to be seen. It needs to be seen so people can realize, hey, okay, I can do what I'm called to do, what I need to do. I
Absolutely.
just kudos to the creators, right? It was
Yeah.
just a great show.
Diversity is, I think, a very important thing. Not everybody, looks the same. Not everybody acts the same, and the more inclusivity we can have, and the more diversity we can have, and show, different people's experiences and what it's like. I think the more authentically you can show it. Obviously, not some type of
Yeah.
stereotype, but authentically show the real experience. And I think that is so important. So, thanks to people like you who speak and do these roles and bring awareness to these characters. I think is such a huge thing. Um, Another favorite of mine. I mean, you have appeared in Upload, and we've had Robbie Amell on the show. We've had Kevin
Did
Bigley.
you?
We've had Kevin Bigley on the show. We love them. They're hilarious, funny guys. I can only imagine that working on a set like that, again, another sci-fi, but that it must have been quite an experience. I mean, is there any unique memories you have coming off that set?
Just joy. I mean, how can, and then, again, such a fabulous creation, like to go to these places, and the humor, the writing was brilliant, brilliant, and then executed by fabulous, as you say, fabulous actors, and there was the openness to like we would ad lib things, and then you'd hear the writers at Video Village and creators laugh and they go, yeah, keep that in, keep it in, keep it in. And then it was like a mutual thing, like different things were thrown into the mix to try to see what's going to work. So it was a whole, you were a part of it. Excuse me, a part of it. And it was so different, right? It was so different. I loved it. I mean, I can still see him in those shorts, when he's on the other side, and there's his uncle's getting shit faced, and it was just brilliant. I'm
Yeah.
so, so, so again grateful that I got to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I love
I, f-
Robbie's great.
I feel like the show got cut short. I mean, I can go in a whole tirade on that. Not fair, not fair. We needed more you, and we needed more of the show. Maybe
I,
one day.
that would be nice.
Um,
Maybe.
so you've been in, I mean, numerous Hallmark movies, a Bramble House Christmas, Sweet Carolina. I mean, I think I saw somewhere it was like you've been in like 13 Christmas movies or something like that. I mean, what is it that you enjoy most about getting to work on those kind of like feel good projects?
Because it's a happy ending every single time. It is a happy ending. And I think back to when I was a kid and you'd be going shopping and we'd be looking at Christmas cards. And I would look at the cover because, again, my mind as a kid going, oh, I wish I could crawl inside that card. It's so pretty. I just want to be there. And it's like looking at a card and having the ability to go and be inside that town, right? And there's always humor, there's always something touching, and it's always a happy ending for the most part. It's
Yeah.
shifting because it's sadly, but it's such a beautiful way to escape. Because if we don't want to escape, well, let's just put the news on, right? We don't, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
If you want to be
But to have,
depressed, put on the news.
and when you know you just want your soul, your spirit to be
Yeah.
uplifted, and you want to see beautiful sets and beautiful locations and colors, and I mean, it's just it is such a fabulous formula that I would never tire of that whole genre, Hallmark genre. It's just a lovely family feel good. I love it. Love it.
Yes, we've had Ashley Williams on the show, who's another phenomenal actress who's done
Oh God.
who lives on the Hallmark Channel now. It seems like great actress. Everything you just said is exactly how I feel about like superhero movies, right? Like if I want to be depressed, I'll turn on the news. I'll watch reality TV. But if I want to feel like good triumphs over evil and that there's hope in the world. I watch Marvel movies because DC is just depressing. Their
Right.
characters are so, so something. Anyway, I mean, you've been on Arrow. You've been on Arrow. You know. They're very moody over at DC. I don't know. I like Marvel. I like my cheerful superheroes.
Yeah.
Um, uh, uh, Man, we got you a couple more minutes. You've also done extensive, voiceover work. I mean, you've voiced many characters, Barbie, and a few others. How for you, like, what's your kind of experience, right? When you're being offered a voice role compared to the on-screen stuff, like, how do you prepare differently? Like, what's the process for you?
The only preparing differently is that I don't need to. If I want to show up in rollers and pajamas, I can. So that is the gift. Um, doing voice work is probably one of the most favorite things for me because again, it was different when COVID was happening because you were in sync, but yourself. But it's like doing a play reading essentially, right? And we all sit in a circle, but what nobody is aware of, to me, I have uh, again the utmost respect for the regular voiceover actors because they can pull out a voice that you think, how the hell did you get that out of your because you know how that person sounds. And then you just all of a sudden you don't even see them anymore. You see, like I'm talking about a woman, all of a sudden she's playing this boy and all I see is this teenage boy and it's a grown woman with kids of her own. And I don't have that. I've never been that type of. I love. I tend to. I mean, I still have fun characters that I play, but not that we're pulling out a South African accent, an Aussie accent, Kiwi accent, like the minute accents that everybody pulls off different other ones that are like generic-y. Well, I don't mean that in any disrespect to various accents, by the way. But you know what I mean? The subtleties of the in betweens. And they just pull them out. And I will sit there going, oh my gosh, you guys are phenomenal. But it's the in between when we're all sitting. And then they'll take a break. And so, we're just, and then you listen to them rap. It's like nonstop comedy. And it goes on a roll. And then they're one upping. And then some other accent will come in. And literally, there's been times where I have lost it and literally gone, guys, seriously, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm peeing here. I've got to, because they're like, oh, we lost Terrell because they're so brilliant. It's just, they're so good. So that is the experience. Again, it's just having that beauty of being whatever you want to be, being as big, as big, as big as you want to be, because it's a celluloid character. And it's just,
Mm,
what can I say?
that's
It's,
beautiful.
yeah.
Like I agree with you. Everything, we love having our voice actors on, Billy West and Rob Paulson and all these guys
Oh,
who are
yeah,
just
you're the best there. Oh my gosh.
legends in the industry.
Legends.
I
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I met Jim Cummings at a convention, and we started talking. And I said, "No, I grew up on your voice. I grew up on your voice." And he goes, "Oh, which?" I said, "Well, man, my favorite of all time was Darkwing Duck." And he slips into it, and when I tell you, I almost started crying. Never has happened before. It's like he reached in and touched the child inside of me,
Oh,
and I was like, you got to stop because I'm going to weep. And it's not normal for a grown man to start weeping at a convention. Well, maybe at a convention. Yeah, maybe. Um,
I,
but it's
you
beautiful.
should. Isn't that because it takes us back,
It's amazing.
right? It
It's a
takes us
superpower.
back. It
Absolutely.
is. Yes, it is.
Last question here before we let you go. You've played such a wide range of characters in your career. Is there any dream role that you haven't gotten to do yet? Is there a genre, a type of character, like, something out there that you're just dying to get a shot at?
Oh my gosh. I have been really blessed, haven't I? Like really a nice. a nice amount of characters. What haven't I played? I mean, I have played bad people. I love playing the baddies. They're fun to play. Um, and you know what I flash to is a type of show that I don't watch because I'm so sensitive. I'm certain there's certain shows where I just can't watch, but like a Game of Thrones kind of thing, like that kind of fantasy. Um, Something like that where it's just this different and where I'd have to get really deep and really work on an accent and be constantly in. I just think, oh my gosh. I mean, I played that type of role in Shakespeare. I played some evil characters. But it would be so fun to have that whole thing, that whole feel, that whole look. That would be
Absolutely.
that would be
Yeah,
something.
lots of
Yeah.
lots of corsets, lots of multi-layered gowns,
Oh,
big
I've
big
had the
wig.
chorus before. It was a show called Dead Man's Gun. I don't know if you remember. It was
I don't
with,
think
and
so.
my character was with the late John Ritter, like great
Oh,
John Ritter. Oh my God. We worked together twice and I just love him. But I was in corsets and literally by the time you ended the shoot, like 7 or 8 days later, your body does change.
yeah.
And I had to not drink too much water because it's huge. You cannot go to the bathroom by yourself. And it's no wonder that when you read through history books that they wouldn't, that they would just let it go under their dress and they'd have their, what were those things called? They wore their metal when the
Oh,
men went to war,
chastity
chastity
belt.
belt. And
Yeah.
they'd all be rusted. Well, hello. Okay, I digress there. Sorry.
Not where I thought the conversation would go, but I'm so happy it did. This is going to be great clickbait later. Uh, Hear Terrell's take on chastity belts. Um, Before we let you go, where can people find you? Are you active on any of the social medias? How can they support you? How can they follow you? Is there anything you want to
Absolutely.
plug moving forward?
Well, we've just wrapped filming season 6 of Virgin River, which is on Netflix, and it was another. I mean, we're keeping fingers crossed that we will be back, and but so they can watch that on Netflix. The first 5 are certainly out there. 6 won't be out for a little bit, but we'll keep you posted on that. Yes, you can find me TerylRothery.com. I'm on Instagram as well. I think I'm on Twitter. I just very seldom go to that. I'm not very good at the whole social media thing. But yeah, just Google and you'll find hopefully the real me. If there isn't a blue check, then it's not me. Yeah.
Perfect. You nailed it. I mean, with that, I want to thank you sincerely. I really do hope that we get a part 2 to this because, again, you have such an amazing career, and I think there's more to you than just this. I mean, we could have touched on the dancing, growing up the dancer, and your time in growing up coming from Canada. And there's just so much to you, and I only want to do it justice. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate your time, and I can't wait to meet you in person at Shore Leave.
I cannot wait. I'm going to hug you. I'm a hugger.
I can
So,
I can
and
take it.
I cannot wait. And yes, I won't make you promise because when I promise, I can't break a promise. But I'm going to hold you to that fabulous thought of a part 2 because I would
Excellent.
love a part 2. And we'll have to catch up when we're at the convention if we have time because we can sit. I just have a feeling you and I would never stop. It'll be
I'm
right.
guilty. I'm guilty of it.
I
Yes,
love
I'm guilty.
it.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been my phenomenal guest. This is not the last time you'll see her here. The amazing, the incomparable Teryl Rothery, everybody. Yeah, I'll give you the last couple seconds here. Say goodbye to the audience, and we'll toss it to a break.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Awesome. All right, guys, we'll be back with more show right after this.
Let's see it.